Recording. Rebecca, will you start recording, please?
I believe we're starting now.
Okay, thank you. The Accounts Review Panel meeting for fiscal year 2024 is now called to order. And with that, I will start with an introduction of panel members. I am Kathleen McColgan, Revenue Commissioner. Law.
Frances Beckley, Revenue Chief Counsel, designee for the Solicitor for the Law Department.
Thank you. City Council.
Good morning, Helen Lawhead, Chief Financial Officer, designate for City Council.
Good morning. Finance.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Josefina Revelo, Chief Accounting Officer representing the Finance Department.
Thank you. And Controller's Office.
I'm Charles Silachero, Deputy Controller, designate for the City Controller.
Great, thank you. Thank you to the panel members, and also I'd like to thank the Revenue Financial Reporting team for assembling the report and all of the agency staff who supplied the receivable information for them to do so, and also those who are attending today to respond to any questions that panel members may have. I just want to remind everyone that only panel members participate when a vote is called, and I ask everyone to please stay on mute themselves if you are not speaking. The first order of business is the nomination of the panel chair.
I move that the Commissioner be nominated to be panel chair.
Thank you. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Anyone against? Okay, I accept the nomination. The next order of business is the nomination of the recording secretary. I would like to nominate Frances Beckley. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Anyone against? Okay. Okay, everyone should have a copy of the charge-off report and a copy of my letter. They were both attached to the meeting invite. But I'm going to read the letter for the record. The Accounts Review Panel agenda and supporting statements reflect receivables that are recommended for charge-off. This recommendation is made in accordance with the principles set forth in Statement Number 1 by the National Council of Governmental Accounting, as adopted by the Governmental Accounting Standards Board. It is emphasized that this charge-off is for financial statement presentation purposes only, and the proposal does not cancel taxpayer liabilities nor delete liens recorded with the court. Moreover, the charge-off has no immediate impact on enforcement measures to recover delinquent taxes. The purpose of the annual charge-off is to ensure that both the city and the school district receivables reflect their net realizable values. Consistent with our established practice, the self-assessed tax receivables are exclusively comprised of arrearages that extend beyond the statute of limitations. The enforcement procedure covering those taxes will remain in force, notwithstanding the reduction of receivable balances for financial statement presentation purposes. The agency receivable facet of the charge-off consists of license and inspections charges and miscellaneous balances from various other departments that are deemed uncollectible. All accounts charged off because of this recommendation are subject to reversal and reinstatement in circumstances that make them collectible. Okay, so just to go over the structure of today's meeting, I will ask Paul Danella, Deputy of Taxes and Fees, to read each charge-off. Panel members will then have the opportunity to ask questions, and once answered, the panel members will be asked to vote on the charge-off. So Paul, do you want to please start with the reading of the first charge-off?
Sure. Real estate taxes. These accounts represent real estate tax for the city and the school district. The total proposed charge-off amount for tax year 2014 represents $9,549,505, which represents receivables aged in the past 10 years. Tax rates for 2014 were 0.6018% city and 0.7382% school. Distribution is 44.91% city and 55.09% school. The proposed charge-offs are $4,288,683 for the city portion and $5,260,822 for the school portion.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor of the proposed write-off?
Aye.
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 All those against?
The controllers office abstains.
Okay, thank you. The charge-off is approved.
Self-assessed city and school taxes. These accounts represent taxes reported by the taxpayer. The charge-off amounts represent fiscal year 2018, which represents receivables aged in the past 6 years. The proposed charge-off is $23,877,286. The total proposed charge-off is comprised of $19,130,023 in self-assessed taxes receivable, $191,702 in parking tax receivable, and $4,555,561 in school district taxes receivable.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 All those against? Those abstaining?
Controllers office abstains.
Thank you.
Office of Administrative Review, alarms. These accounts represent fines for false alarm activations exceeding the 2 false alarm per registration year. The charge-off represents additional receivables aged past 36 months. The proposed charge-off is $77,875. Sweeps. These accounts represent fines issued for infractions of the Philadelphia Code that cover personal contact. Examples, smoking on public transportation, or minor property owner violations like high weeds, failure to recycle, litter. The charge-off represents additional receivables aged past 36 months. The proposed charge-off is $931,691. Burglar alarm registration fees. These accounts represent annual charges for burglar alarm systems. The charge-off represents additional receivables aged past 36 months. The proposed charge-off is $73,931.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 All those against? Those abstaining?
Controllers office abstains.
Thank you.
Fire Department Emergency Medical Services. These amounts represent charges to individuals who were provided with emergency medical services by emergency medical personnel. The total charge-off amount of $231,186,149 represents adjustments for the variance between billed amounts versus insurance payments received in fiscal year 2024. This amount includes $26,915,829 for bad debt aged for fiscal year 2024 and $204,270,320 actual insurance adjustments and closed accounts.
Any questions?
Yes, from the controller's office, the total charge of amount of 231 million, which is significantly higher than last year. Is there any reason to be higher this year?
Do we have anyone attending from fire who can respond to that question?
Good evening, or good day, everyone. I have to research that with my budget officer. I thought she would be on the call, but I would need to research that and get back to you. But I right now couldn't answer that question.
Thank you. And Paul, we didn't have any discussion about that.
No, we did not. No extra detail provided.
Okay.
I'm sorry. We hold on one second. I believe it had something to do with COVID-19 billings.
Okay. I think we'll have to
Okay.
confirm, Charles.
Okay.
Are you okay with us moving forward on a vote?
Yeah, you can, yeah.
Okay. All those in favor of approving the write-off?
Aye.
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 Those abstaining?
Controller's office.
Thank you.
Licenses and inspections, clean and seal. These accounts represent claims for expenditures by the city for cleaning and sealing condemned properties for protection of public health and safety. These accounts have liens imposed upon them. The charge-off amounts represent fiscal year 2023. The proposed charge-off is $450,992. Community Life Improvement Program. These accounts represent claims for expenditures by the city relating to the Community Life Improvement Program. The work is done only after the property owner has refused to correct the problem. These accounts have liens imposed upon them. The charge-off amount represents fiscal year 2023. The proposed charge-off is $1,675,158. Other nuisance liens. These accounts represent claims for the expenditures by the city regarding demolition, site improvement, sealing, stucco, and asbestos work. These accounts have liens imposed upon them. The charge-off amount represents fiscal year 2023. The proposed charge-off is $13,639,274.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Okay. Those in favor?
Aye.
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 Controller's office
abstaining?
abstains.
Okay, thank you. Charge off is approved.
Commissioner, I don't think you've been casting your vote vocally. Can you do
Sure.
that when you start each round? Thank you.
Yes.
Solid resource fee. These accounts represent charges on any commercial establishment or multi-unit property receiving city collection of rubbish and recycling materials. The charge-off amount represents receivables aged past 6 years, which relates to fiscal year 2018. The proposed charge-off is $2,779,755.
Thank you. Does anyone have questions? Okay, those in favor? Aye.
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 Those abstaining?
Controller's office abstain.
Thank you.
Police overtime. These accounts represent charges to outside organizations for work performed by the police department. The charge-off amount represents fiscal year 2018. The proposed charge-off is $70,724.
Does anyone have any questions? Okay, those in favor? Aye.
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 Those abstaining?
Controller's office.
Okay, thank you.
Register of wills. These accounts represent probate fees based on estimates of decedent's assets. When the true value of assets is finally determined, the probate fees are adjusted. The proposed charge-off is $13,209, representing the amount due for fiscal year 2024. Courts for First Judicial District of PA, Clerk of Courts. These accounts represent fines and other charges by the courts of the First Judicial District, excluding traffic court. that are due to the city. The total write-off of $4,030,930 represents the total fiscal year 2024.
Does anyone have any questions? All in favor? Aye.
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 Those abstaining?
Controller's office abstaining.
Aviation Fund. These accounts represent receivables from marginal carriers that no longer use the airport's facilities and are out of business. The proposed charge-off for fiscal year 2024 is $18.
Any questions? Those in favor? Aye.
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 Those abstaining?
Controller's office abstains.
Thank you.
Hotel Rental Tax Fund. These accounts represent the hotel tax on short-term rentals. The charge-off amount represents fiscal year 2018. The proposed charge-off is $162,935.
Okay, any questions? Those in favor? Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Those abstaining?
Controller's office abstaining.
Water Fund. The Water Fund submits the following categories of delinquent and uncollectible water fund accounts receivable, herein totaling $14,581,414 to the accounts receivable panel for exclusion from water fund statements. The total includes $3,035,466 pre-petition bankruptcy balances, $48 in low-income arrearages, and $11,545,900 in delinquent accounts over 1 year old.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions?
Yes, I do, from the controller's office. 14.5 million, which is again a little higher than last year. If anybody could give an answer or a reason for that.
Yes, I'll respond. Oh, go ahead, Mark. You can respond to it.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say there was a decrease in state grants that were offered this year versus the last few years, and a decrease to the tune of roughly $6 million. So that's why it's higher this year versus the last couple of years.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. All those in favor? Aye.
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 Those abstaining?
Controller's office abstaining.
Okay. That is the last charge off, right, Paul?
Correct, yes.
Okay, so that concludes our meeting unless anyone else has any additional questions. Okay, the meeting is adjourned. I thank you all for attending and have a good day.
Thank you, everyone. Have a
Thank
great
you.
day. Bye-bye.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
Rebecca, Commissioner, don't end the session until Rebecca stops the recording so it saves properly to avoid any issues.
Okay.
Sorry.